My name is Mark White. I'm a Senior Managing Director here at Control Risks, where I have a particular interest in questions of urbanisation and building resilience. Forecasts by the UN predict that the urban population of Africa is likely to rise from around 400 million, as it was at the start of this decade, to about 1.3 billion by 2050, with similar pictures existing in Asia Pacific and Latin America. The UN also estimates that around 60% of the area expected to be urbanised by 2030 is yet to be built. Along with these new urban centres will go the critical infrastructure necessary to support them. This exponential growth in urban areas, whilst presenting major opportunities for investors, developers and contractors, comes with significant attendant risk. They will face a range of societal, technological, political, security and environmental hazards and threats. This ever more complex risk landscape has led to increasing interest in questions of resilience. Today, I'm joined by Professor Brian Field, who's an independent urban planning and design advisor and also a visiting professor at University College London, where he's concerned with the evaluation of mega infrastructure projects. Brian, thank you for joining us today. How much do the many elements that make up resilience factor in decisions made by investors about where to put their money?
I think there are all of the factors are important. I think when we talk about resilience, how do we build resilience? What are we trying to achieve? I think there are two key words. I think one is adaptation or adaptability, and the other one is continuity. A resilient city is one that can adapt and respond to unforeseen circumstances with not too great impact, and those circumstances can be socioeconomic, they can be climatic or what have you.
And of course helps build sustainability.
Helps to build sustainability. And the second word is continuity. It's able to continue to function in the way that it's functioned in the past, albeit in a slightly adapted form. For me, resilience is the pathway, building resilience is the pathway to sustainability.
National risk assessments are increasingly a foundation for more localised risk profiling. What role do you think that these national risk assessments play in any decision to invest?
Historically, multi-criteria analysis was used as a method for evaluating the impact of major infrastructure projects. But we're increasingly looking at it now as a methodology that can be deployed to develop a risk register for particular areas or particular communities or what have you in the wake of planned development. So I personally think that what we need is a decent analytical toolkit that sets out what the likely implications will be of a particular course of action or a particular course of inaction. It can be both ways. And this is what I think these national risk registers should be about. They should be about framing the environment, the risk environment, within which development can take place.
I think it's probably true also that perhaps the better a developer can present the risks to potential investors, the better the chances of reducing punitive risk premiums on investment.
Absolutely.
And demonstrate and helping build investor confidence.
Absolutely. It's funny, isn't it? Certainly when I first moved into this business of planning and development, developers would be functioning within an environment in which people would be trying to hide the risks. They'd be trying to bury their heads in the sand, pretending that it was sunny days ahead, lots of profit, lots of benefits and what have you. The game has completely changed now. People want to know what the risks are, they want to know what the scale of those risks are, what the immediacy of those risks are, and they want to build resilience into their development so that the impact of those risks can be mitigated. So I think risk assessment, risk profiling, risk management afterwards, it's not just about the assessment, it's about managing the risks afterwards. I think this is really the name of the game now in terms of urban development.
And I think in our experience as well of looking at foreign companies wanting to invest or move into new markets, they go through a very detailed due diligence process now. And I think increasingly resilience and moving into cities that are inherently resilient, where business continuity can be assured up to a degree, where they know they can get continuity of operation, I think is becoming increasingly an issue perhaps for some companies moving into new cities or into existing cities.
Yeah, I think in the past, multinational development companies would have focused primarily on the geopolitical risk of investing in another constituency, one that they weren't familiar with. But nowadays, it's different. I mean, globalization has completely changed the name of the game. We know what's going on, where, when, and how. We know the scale of the various other risks that have now been built into the system. So it's not just about geopolitical risk anymore. There's socioeconomic risk, like I said earlier. There's demographic risk. There's climatic risk. I would argue that given the global challenges that we now face, the planet now faces a number of global challenges. These challenges are manifold. There's security, there's climate change, there's problems of water, there's environmental degradation, there's a refugee crisis. A whole range of problems are now confronted by society. One of the things that we can say for certain, for absolutely certain, is that these battles or these problems will only be solved, or these battles will only be won in cities. And the way that we develop our cities and the way that we build resilience within our cities will determine the extent to which we're successful in that battle.
Brian, thank you very much for providing some great insight there into some of the challenges that we face in trying to create both resilient and sustainable cities of the future. I think there were some very good tangible items there, which will certainly help with developers and investors working in what can be a very challenging environment, but one where certainly the risks are manageable. My name is Mark White, a Senior Managing Director at Control Risks.